Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are broadcasting live. I am so excited. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. If you clicked on this, you probably know who I am, Kirk M. Samuels, the Intimacy Incubator. But that's not what's important this morning. What's important is the people that I have with me here this morning for this conversation. My good friends, I know them, I love them, I trust them, Eric and Rachel Dufour. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Kirk. We're good.
We're excited to be here with you.
Good coffee too.
Good coffee too. Yeah, I got mine. I got mine right here. So first things first, where were you born?
We were born in France. Last time I checked, that's where we were born.
A long time ago.
Many years ago.
Viva la France!
Vive la France! Yes.
World Cup champions. World Cup champions. That's why we had you on, because your team won the World Cup.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. So that just proves you're winners. That just proves you're winners. Now, as a couple, so you all, just to set up and allow people to get a perspective of who you are. You've been working with people since what, the early '90s? Working like with people and helping people in different ways?
We got married in '91 and got 5 sons quickly in 6 years and a half. We wanted to build our family first, and we served in France as working with drug addicts and women in distress, as we planted a church in France, and then we pastored 2 churches, one in the countryside, one in the city, and then God called us to the mission field. So after 9 years in France serving God as pastors and social workers, we left for Southeast Asia, and we served there for 8 years doing different things, very passionate about what we did there. And then when we were on the mission field, Eric got sick, cancer, depression. It was very hard, and we tried to find help from our little place in the world, and we could not find someone to relate to us. Everybody told us, well, you're pastors, missionaries, just pray more and you will be good. But at one point in life, praying more was not enough. And the burden for pastors, missionaries, couples suffering while they are serving came on us, and we came to the States 10 years ago. Yesterday.
Yeah, the 23rd. It was 10 years ago. It was our 10th anniversary being in the States.
So we arrived in the States and got trained by great people about how to do counseling and to pastoral care. And we train and specialize in bringing this help all around the world. So we travel a lot, about 6 months every year, a little bit shy of 6 months, to different parts of the world where we do conferences, we do intensives, couple intensive and counseling, so we can bring the help where people serve.
Wow. And then so tell me about, I love this story, tell me about Sam.
That's your
so
story.
SAM is the name of our organization. It's called Serving Alongside Ministry. It's an acronym for Serving Alongside Ministry. But in fact, I chose Sam because of Sam Genji, in The Lord of the Rings. Yep. Frodo has his best friend Sam, and at the very end of the movie and the books, when Frodo and Sam are about to go into the volcano and destroy the ring, that is the source of all evil, Frodo collapses and because the weight he's carrying is too heavy on him, and so Sam says, maybe I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. And for me, this sentence is really, it summarizes who we are and our desire is we can't carry people's calling or people's work for them or whatever they're doing in life, but we can carry them and help them to be stronger and have a better marriage, for instance, or a stronger life, etc. So that's really our motto, if you want. Carrying people when they in times of distress and helping them to go forward in their lives.
Wow. And so do you work with individuals, couples? Who do you work with most?
Mostly work with couples, but we also work with individuals and singles. Yeah.
I take care of the woman, and Eric takes care of the man.
Nice. That's a great combination. Now, back in, I think it was maybe a couple of years ago, you guys put out a video series called 12 Steps to Sexual Intimacy.
Yes.
Tell me about
We
that.
did that.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It was to follow another series we filmed. It was 40 Days to a Successful Marriage. And of course, we wanted to address more in depth the sexuality aspect. So 12 Steps to Healthy Sexuality came in the picture. Those are 10 minutes max videos. And we recommend that the couples watch them together or on their own. But after talk together about it, we always give a little bit of homework questions to process and then digest those, and you will see growth in the.
We've realized in the era of pornography and everybody speaks about sex, there's so many misunderstandings about what real sexuality is, and we always talk about sexuality as something that is physical, and it is, but it's first something that is emotional and spiritual before being physical. And in fact, everybody thinks to know that we know everything about sexuality, when in fact it's, in our practice, with the people we work with, we realize it's the other way around. There's less and less good understanding of what sexuality really means.
It's a gift from God, so we should be the one talking the best about it. Yeah.
So it's not just, so you're saying that sexuality is not just, I mean, it's holistic. You're saying it's every part of who I am. It's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual.
Totally. And if we just keep it as something that is just physical with no impact on the emotional and spiritual part of our beings, we're in the wrong, and we're really about to have terrible times in our lives. It's not just physical. Let's say, I even go as far as saying the physical aspect is the last aspect of it. Because we first need spiritual and emotional healthy connections before being able to have a healthy physical connection.
Wow. And so do you think, would it be safe to assume that you believe that sexuality within the context of that relationship is important?
Ooh, it's extremely important because it bonds the two together, husband and wife, keep them safe, protected, connected, and being one. It's very, very important for the holistic side health of their marriage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so, I mean, so it's something that should be, it's something that should be maintained as far as strength throughout the course of the relationship, right?
Yes, it's gonna, the periodicity of sexual intimacy will vary according to each couple, but yes, we highly recommend to be sexually active. You know, if there's a disease or if there's something that keeps you from being able to do it, it's a different story. It's a different, I can't is a different universe from I don't want. But if there is the possibility, the physical possibility to be sexually intimate, yes, we highly recommend to be active at that level.
And for the wife's side, learning pleasure and sexual, pleasure, orgasm, it's a journey. It's a journey she's on, and it can only go better if, you know, everything is in place. So there is no end to it. It can last their whole life.
Wow. And so normally, and you know, this being this particular webinar being targeted towards men in terms of a male audience. And so it seems like, you know, from a guy perspective, it seems like guys in the context of a relationship, sometimes it honestly feels like guys can value the sexuality in the relationship more than women. I mean, it seems like that's kind of a dynamic now. I mean, maybe that's just a perception from a guy. I don't know.
No, I mean, there's a perception and there's also physical reality. Guys, we have a 3-day cycle when women have a 28-day cycle, hormonal cycle, let's say. Every 3 days, every 72 hours, our testicles reach full capacity of spermatozoids. And then it naturally creates a desire for sexual intimacy. And it's not because we are sexually, always thinking about sexual intimacy, or, well, sometimes we are, but it's just, to make it a long story short, but it's because we have so much testosterone in us, much more than women, and we're glad for that. It's what creates in us the desire to protect and conquer and create, and, so testosterone creates tension in our body, and the fact that we have sexual intimacy can really release that tension in a healthy way and a good way. So every 3 days, any given human guy will have the desire for sexual intimacy.
Wow. So then, so why does it seem like, again, maybe it's perception, but why does it seem like women don't really have that same desire in their course of relationship, at
So
least over
that's
time?
good that we have a woman with us, even if we talk to guys today.
Exactly. That
Yeah, I'll give you secrets.
madness. All the pressure is on you, Rachel.
Right. So it's true that for men, it seems that sexual intimacy is extremely important, and it seems that they think about it and want to maintain it, because I think it's a way for them to feel love. It's also a primary need for them, so it's right there. For women to feel loved, she needs to feel connected emotionally, so it's from a different angle. And if she's not feeling safe at the emotional level, the sexual side doesn't kick in. So it's different approach. Men are stimulated with their eyes, and they feel loved when they are sexual with their wives. She needs to feel safe, to trust, to feel beautiful, to have the dishes put away and the kids in bed and the house packed and all of this, cleaned and all of that. So it's at the emotional level that she is turned on in her brain. The biggest sexual organ for the wives and the husband
guys too
is the brain. So it starts here. And if she's not really here and not feeling safe and valued and number one in his life, it's not coming on.
Wow. So you're saying that from her perspective, I mean, to me, what you just said sounds like when her load is more free, when she's free to kind of be present in the moment, then she's more likely to be available in the moment.
Yes, on the wife's side, it builds up during the day. I mean, if they have a fight and then the husband just wants to kiss her, then she's not there because all of what happened before. And another big secret is non-sexual affection.
Yeah, maybe you never heard about the terminology of non-sexual affection. I mean, it's being able to cuddle, to take your wife in your arms, and letting her know that even if it's really a pleasant time, it won't end up with a sexual intercourse afterwards. And she needs to know that anytime you take her in your arms, it's not going to be because you want sex. And the quality of this non-sexual affection is so important that, in fact, and that's the bizarre secret, if you have great non-sexual affection time, it will end up in a greater sexual time whenever it comes. But it can't be, I mean, the two can't be always connected. Or the wife will be like, is he taking me in his arms because he wants sex? And then what does it mean exactly? And we don't give the same definition of what sexy means. Guys, for your wife, maybe sexy means he washed the dishes for me. He realized I was tired and he fixed the dinner and or he made the bed this morning because I didn't have time to do that. This is sexy. And if you ask any guy on earth, give me a list of what is sexy to you, they're never going to put wash the dishes, fix the bed, or whatever it is. We're never going to think about it. We're going to think about her body. We're going to think about lingerie, whatever it is. But for a wife, it's totally different. So we have to learn what sexy means to our wife. And
ask her the question.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. So how would any guy know that? Like, how would he find out what it is for her?
Well, his wife knows.
But if he asks the question, will she just tell him?
Yes, because if he asks the question like this, tell me what's sexy because I want to be able to give that to you, and how can I demonstrate non-sexual affection? She will be blown away if you say non-sexual affection.
Wow.
Through the day, and tell me how it looks like for you, and I'm willing to do it just for you. Tell him that, and you will see a smile on her face and her eyes going.
And I'd like to say something. That's true that we have a higher sexual drive as guys because of the testosterone in general. It's not always. But if a wife feels like she's really well taken care of at her needs level, at the non-sexual affection level, etc., then you will see her sexual desire rise. Yep. Because if she feels safe and protected and understood and taken care of, then she will be at a better place for the sexual desire. And guys, actually, I think you will be surprised by the rise of your wife's sexual desire. It might take you by surprise.
Mm-hmm. And she feels, so the big word, the word that stood out in what you just said was safe.
Yes.
Now, I mean, what is, can you unpack what safe is? Because that's kind of I mean, that can mean a whole lot of things to a guy. What does it mean by making her safe?
Understood at her needs levels. What is it that she needs as a woman, as a wife, as a mother from her husband on a weekly basis, on daily basis?
It's very personal and individual, but very likely it looks like this. She needs to feel that she's the number one in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if they're in a group or with friends, she needs to know that he knows she's still around. She needs to still feel connected to him. She needs to feel valued in his eyes,
Mm-hmm.
maybe by him leaving notes for her, buying flowers, or texting her once a day. Or she needs to feel safe spiritually also, meaning that he's connected to God and bring the safety in this relationship. She needs to know that he's caring for her kids, for their kids, her kids. She needs to know that she's beautiful in his eyes, so with no competition, and that he's not looking somewhere else because it's shatter the safety of who she is as a woman. It depends on the wife.
You know, there's some good books like The 5 Love Languages from Gary Chapman that I would highly recommend guys to buy, because if you want quality time and she needs acts of service, for instance, yes, and you want to love her better, then you give better quality time, you know, to her, but then it doesn't talk to her, because what she needs is that you do something for her that will help her in her day, during her day. Then once you've given your best and it's not working, then you're discouraged. So this is a book that could really help guys to understand what their wife need from them. And
yeah, sometimes wives or our husband too, we have this saying, well, if you love me, you should know.
Yeah.
That's not fair, and that's not right, because we are built so uniquely that we cannot guess. And the best is to open those conversations with your wives and ask her by telling her that you want to provide what she needs and what makes her feel safe. So in order to do it the best, if she would explain it to you, then you would be ready to do it. And that's a very, very, very huge proof of love.
Wow. Is it important for her to feel like she's loved and appreciated for who she is, as opposed to what she can do and what she does and what she provides? Like who she is as a woman and as a person, is that important? It's
not only important, it's the number one thing. She needs to know that she's loved as who she is. It could be tough for instance, for any given woman, you know, as soon as for instance, you begin to have children, sometimes the woman needs to put her career on pause because of the children, etc. So it's a huge identity crisis, for instance, and that's when the husband really needs to be there for her and let her know that, yes, he loves her for who she is, and he values who she is to him too, and her position as the number one in his life, that she's always beautiful, which is true. I mean, our wife is the most beautiful woman on earth, and it's the truth. So yeah, you need on daily basis actually to let her know that, and not just one time. You know, sometimes we hear like I love you, I married you, and I'll let you know if there is anything that changes. It's like a check. No. There's something almost dead in I love you. It's like it's a done deal, and it's it. That's it. I prefer I'm in love with you, meaning I don't take you for granted, and I want to reconquer your heart every day. And guys, it's not just because we're French and we're romantic. No, it's really, I'm sure 100% of American women wants that too from their husband. So we need to be creative and ask her what is it that she needs from us to feel love for who she is, and do it on daily and weekly basis.
And Mark Younger gave a very great picture of those. You guys have boxes in your brain and the way you function, and you have the job box, and you have the friends, the buddies box, and you have the husband's box, and the kids box, and the empty box, by the way. that you bought nothing. Okay, those boxes. Well, for us women, everything is connected. So I don't know your wife, but maybe she lays asleep at night and has her to-do list, and everything is like, ooh, trying to, work together.
Yeah.
So when the husband realized that she needs to feel valued for who she is, regardless of this to-do list and how she handles it or not, by the way, it's sometimes way too much and expectations are way too high on women. So if she can feel safe inside of her for who she is as a woman, and what she needs by asking her, is going to ground her and help her through the days and weeks and years.
Is it possible that over time she may almost I don't know how to say it. Is it possible over time that she may almost forget or lose the sense that she's a woman, or lose her womanhood in all of the roles and all of the things that she does, where she just literally just kind of almost forgets or falls off that I'm a woman?
Totally. She can see herself like for several years, I mean, many years, Rachel was raising babies and just talking babies all the day long. And then it was difficult for her to see herself as my wife and not just as a mom. So there's a great secret, guys. We have so busy lives nowadays, but nevertheless, we can't be defined only by our job or the fact that we are parents. I would like to suggest to you guys that try to carve a 2-hour time once a week to have a date. And it's not luxury. And don't tell me, oh, guy, you don't know my schedule. It's just impossible. We're way too busy. It's possible if we're intentional and want it. And a date is a time where it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be going to a Starbucks, could be having that in your bedroom when the kids are at bed. It could be, anything you want, at a restaurant if you want, or just walking anywhere in the park. But it's a 2-hour time where you're not going to speak about work. You're not going to speak about work. You're not going to answer your cell phone. There is a voicemail for a reason. Do not answer your cell phone. Do not speak about your problems. And some guys sometimes tell me, but what are we going to talk about if we don't speak about those things? Not the news or nothing. Just speak about your relationship, your dreams, your lovemaking.
Your story.
Yeah. Remember the time. The idea is to go back to when you were just engaged and dreaming about building together something. You knew what to talk about by then. So why don't you recreate this time? And every one of us, we're so busy, so tired mentally and physically. If we have a 2-hour bubble of time that no one can reach us there, and it's just for the two of us as a husband and wife, but in love, husband and wife, goodness, it's gonna, I challenge you, create that, carve that. Maybe 1 week you're responsible for it, the following week she's responsible for it. Like this, it breaks the routine. I'm telling you, it's going to change the flavor of your relationship.
Wow. So wait a minute, this concept of, when you're doing date night or date time, whenever that is, day or night, to a technique, I guess you could say, of going back to and remembering and almost reliving that story, reliving that time.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic, man. That's a great nugget of wisdom to be able to do that. And you can't go wrong. I mean, just going back to those remember when and the good old days, or even, and bringing it up to now kind of thing. Wow.
She'll love it. Don't tell her what you're doing, but take her on a date. And like you said, you can be there all night, whatever fits your schedule, but do it on a regular basis every week, and you'll see how much love she feels.
And I'd say protect that date and don't make it like, January 1st, we all want to go back to the gym room. And then the first thing we drop in January 2nd is the gym room. Don't do that, because you're going to want to drop the dates like it's not working. We had a fight just 10 minutes before leaving to our dates and stuff. Be perseverant, and it's worth trying and giving it your best, because suddenly you're back to, I'm in love with her, or he's in love with me, and stuff like that. And you really see the value of it, and it's going to help at the sexual level too.
Wow. I think, man, I mean, that I just to picture that, man, that could be powerful, I think, man, to be able to go back and to relive that, because I almost do wonder, yeah, as the longer we're together, the more we kind of forget what got us together or what brought us together. And to be able to go back and to remember that, man, to bring that back into the present, I think is, man, that would be huge. I mean, that would be huge in planting seeds.
And planting seed is a great way to say it too, because you plant seeds not only for the two of you, but if you have children, for them too. We've been going on dates forever since we started dating. That's what it is about. We bring the dating time in the marriage. And our kids now they are young adults and getting married, and they are dating their wives every week. So just by modeling it, and you can bring the kids into it, and have the plan an event with the kids or a surprise or something. You'll see it does great to the next generation as well.
I just realized there's something I forgot to mention, something very important at the beginning of this. Rachel, you have a new book coming out.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the name of that book? And just we're coming down to the end here. What's the name of that book? And then give us like a minute or two about what the book is.
The book is for women, but husbands are highly recommended to read it. It's called Puree for the Vajayjay. It's a very nice way to say vagina, and it's a celebration of female sexuality. It's the first book of 3 books. It's a series. In the first book, I place the foundations on women's sexuality. I want to help women to reconquer their sexuality so they can own it and transition it to their daughters and friends, so it can be normal in the good way, normal for a woman to own her sexuality and to know the journey she's in. It's a foundation. The second book will be about how to survive after an abuse situation, and the third one would be on techniques, because I often sit in front of women they have questions at this level, so I will put that in my book.
Wow. I saw a little, I think it might have been on Instagram or something like that. I saw your video introducing your book, and you were doing it in French.
Yes. It sounds romantic, right?
Yeah, it was meant for French. And so I was kind of listening to just the way you introduced that in French. And from what I remember back in high school, I could pick up a couple words.
It's for a Spanish conference, so they picked French as the language they wanted me to present.
Yeah, I think when I was in high school, he didn't teach us the word vajayjay. So
no, I don't think
that. So yeah, that part I kind of picked up just based on the copy of the book. So it sounds like this conversation, and I mean, you all, I mean, we plan on doing this. I mean, kind of revisiting this whole topic, just however many times in the future. So we're going to come back to draw down on many different aspects of this topic. But to me, it sounds like, based off of this conversation, that we really need to, we as guys, I mean, first of all, it's not bad, or we're not wrong that it's important that our sexuality is important. And it sounds like we need to plant that seed. It sounds like we need to work the environment. We need to cultivate the environment, or create the space for that to happen as the men in a relationship.
Yeah, I'd say do not take your wife for granted, and be intentional in cultivating the quality of your relationship by having a non-sexual affection, asking her what she needs to feel the number one in your life, how you can help her, and what is it that she needs to feel like loved and cherished and treasured. And so being intentional in carving time and having dedicated time for the two of you, and you will see your wife's sexual desire for you will rise, and you'll be surprised maybe.
Wow. So just to close out here as we wind down, how can people get a hold of you if they want more information, if they want to talk to you, if they want to sit with you, or counseling, or hear you? How can people get a hold of you?
So they can contact us through our website, www.ericracheldufour.com.
And I mean, will you eventually have your book linked there too?
Yes, there's a website for me as well, but it will be linked.
It'll be linked.
www.racheldufour.com. So you'll find it on Amazon. It's already pre-selling on Amazon.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome, man. I'm so excited about that. I'm excited about that for sure. Well, again, thank you all.
Thank you.
I mean, you know I love you. You already know that. I
You
love you two tremendously. So thank you for that. My last word of encouragement to guys is, and specifically a lot of the guys I work with, you know, have struggles and challenges in their sexuality, and specifically around the consumption of pornography and being kind of trapped in that area. And I just wanted to affirm to guys that your sexuality, you're not broken by wanting sex and by expressing sex and by needing that sexuality. You're not broken at all. Unfortunately, in our culture, our sexuality can be hijacked, and it can be misled, and it can present itself in some unhealthy ways, especially when we're offered artificial intimacy as opposed to actual intimacy. So you're not broken. As a matter of fact, you're working very well if you struggle in your sexuality, and specifically if you struggle with pornography. You're almost working too well, and you're being exploited. And so I don't want any guy to feel like he's broken. I want every guy to feel like that it's possible to get that back into line and get and experience true, actual intimacy.
Yes.
And so I want to encourage every guy out there with that, and for you guys to hang in there, and we can do this together. There's a team out there willing to help you, and we're just part of it. So I love each and every one of you guys, and we will be in touch. Eric, Rachel, thank you so much. I love you, and
Thank
we
you.
will talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.